Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this.
Liverpool tell Arne Slot how many games he has to save his job after shock defeat. Despite growing scrutiny and recent disappointing results, Liverpool manager Arne Slot continues to have the full backing of the club's ownership group, who have decided to give the Dutchman until the new year to turn the season around. The decision reflects a belief within the Fenway Sports Group FSG hierarchy that Slot remains the right man to lead the team through this turbulent period. Even as pressure mounts from fans and pundits alike, the defending Premier League champions suffered another shock defeat on Saturday. Nottingham Forest won 3-0 at Anfield, inflicting more misery on the Liverpool boss and his team, who have now lost 6 matches in the Premier League this season. Liverpool crisis gets even worse. After an eventful summer transfer window in which the Reds signed Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike, they have struggled to bring the best out of all these attacking stars, and now, after their latest defeat, they have fallen to the bottom half of the Premier League table. According to a trusted source on X, the Liverpool owners are willing to give Slot until the new year to turn things around and steady the ship. Despite setting a deadline for the manager, the club hierarchy have complete faith in the abilities of the Dutch manager who guided them to the Premier League title last season. The Reds officials feel Slot is the right man to take the club forward and come out of the current crisis. Reds risk losing more ground in the title race. In a season when they were the outstanding favorites to win the league title, the Reds are struggling to even make it to the top 4 of the Premier League. Slot has the support of the club and they believe he is the right man for the job, but if by the new year their situation remains the same or gets worse, they could be forced to take a harsh decision. If Arsenal beat Tottenham in the North London derby on Sunday, the Gunners will move 11 points ahead of Slot's side in the Premier League table. Jurgen Klopp verdict speaks volumes as Liverpool humiliation heaps pressure on Arne Slot. Jurgen Klopp has already leapt to the defense of Arne Slot as Liverpool's dreadful run continues. What some had hoped was a dip in form has now spiraled into a full-blown crisis, following the Reds' 3-0 meltdown at home against Nottingham Forest on Saturday. The shock defeat extends Liverpool's dire run this season to 6 losses in their last 7 matches across all competitions, having previously been defeated 3-0 by Manchester City before the November international break. The reigning Premier League champions' form took a nosedive after the 2-1 loss to Crystal Palace in late September. With his team now in the bottom half of the table, Slot's hopes of defending his Premier League title are now unlikely, and the Dutchman is under intense pressure to turn things around and avoid what was unthinkable just 2 months ago, his potential dismissal. However, former manager Klopp's comments at the start of the season, when Liverpool were beginning to show signs of struggle under Slot, albeit not to this extent, called for calm and patience. The German urged fans to give his successor time, as the team was undergoing a transition after a record-breaking summer of spending in the transfer market. Reflecting on the initial transition a year ago, Klopp recently said on the Diary of a CU podcast, "We had a lot of contact after that. He's a super good guy. He got the best out of this team, and they became champions in an incredible manner. It's not about Arne showing the world what he can do, it's about getting the best out of the team. That's exactly what he did. Change always has an impact. And change always needs time. If he keeps the exact same team as last season, Darwin Núñez still there, Luis Diaz still there, for example, they start playing and have problems. People say we need change. Now the new guys are there, and they are really good players. It's just not working out at the minute." Klopp summarized his thoughts in 3 words, saying, "Development needs time," before adding, "Nobody can change that. People need time to adapt. It's all good." Despite his assessment, there are certain issues that Slot must address immediately. Some decisions, such as persisting with record signing Alexander Isak up front instead of Hugo Ekitike, and the lack of midfield balance in the team, have frustrated supporters. Liverpool's defensive issues have also been a recurring theme since the season got underway, with Ibrahima Konate and Virgil van Dijk both noticeably struggling for form. Injuries to Conor Bradley and Jeremy Frimpong have led to Dominic Szoboszlai being deployed out of his natural position at right back, leaving many confused as to why the Dutch manager has not opted to start Joe Gomez in that role more often. Liverpool get Mark Guehi green light. Liverpool missed out on signing Mark Guehi on transfer deadline day. The Crystal Palace captain was the subject of a £35 million bid from Richard Hughes last summer, but the FA Cup holders declined to sell their England international defender owing to a lack of available replacements. Liverpool therefore had to face the season with reduced options in the centre-back area, with the club having to put a pin in their plans to sign Guehi. Guehi, at centre of transfer battle, 25-year-old, is out of contract in summer 2026 and is set to become one of the hottest properties in the free transfer shakeup. Liverpool will be right there for his signature, with Guehi largely agreeing to join the club once before. But the Premier League champions' interest is going to be complicated by the presence of several top European and English clubs. Bayern Munich are one such team who are interested in Guehi, but inside the Allianz Arena they now believe that Liverpool remain favourites for the stopper. Liverpool are in the lead for Guehi. Bayern know that Liverpool are in the lead in the race for Mark Guehi. A report from Bayern insider Christian Falk reads, "Yes, there was an agreement in the summer, and the Crystal Palace star would like to play for Liverpool. FC Bayern did make efforts to try and get Guehi in the market. In his agency, there's one agent who is working for the German market, and, of course, Bayern had a contact. However, the signs indicate that the Englishman is heading in the direction of Liverpool. There's still some hope, there's still a chance, but they know it's getting hard. Guehi is back on the menu. This is very good news for Liverpool, who would have been concerned that missing out on Guehi once before might cost them the opportunity to sign him in the future. But it looks clear now that the former Chelsea defender still sees his future at Anfield, and his signing remains very much on track. The likes of Bayern, Real Madrid and Inter will be disappointed by the setback, but Liverpool can take encouragement from Guehi's decision to stick with Anfield as his #1 destination. Arne Slot at big risk of the sack after Liverpool thrashing. The English media is unanimous in their verdict that Liverpool manager Arne Slot is now at risk of the sack. The Reds were thrashed 3-0 at home by Nottingham Forest on Saturday in the latest dismal result and performance by Slot's men. The Reds have lost 6 of their last 7 matches in the Premier League and are way down in 11th place in the Premier League, 8 points off the top of the table, with leaders Arsenal having a game in hand. This latest poor result has piled the pressure on manager Slot, with much of the English media unanimous that he risks the sack. YNWA transfer news, as well as Liverpool journalist David Lynch, both go the strongest and suggest that the end of the line for Slot may be here. Other papers such as the Daily Mirror, the Guardian and the Echo all concur that Liverpool's situation is shambolic and wonder what is going to be done about it. Until now, the feeling had been that Slot was not under immediate risk of being dismissed. Fabrizio Romano said before the international break that Liverpool bosses still had trust in Slot and believe he can turn things around. Romano reported earlier in the month that Liverpool chiefs understand that having made so many new signings in the summer that things can take time to gel. He said they had not made any contact with potential successors or their agents, and were still backing Slot. But this latest defeat and the nature of it may now have changed their tune. Slot is under pressure to fix the Reds' current slump, following a record-breaking summer transfer window in which they spent a whopping €482.9 million on Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz, Hugo Ekitike, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong and Giovanni Leoni. The Reds spent just €42 million during Slot's first transfer window at the club, and they were expected to endure a difficult 2024-25 campaign following the departure of Jurgen Klopp. However, they won just their second ever Premier League title. Slot enjoyed a fantastic debut season at Anfield as Liverpool claimed the English top-flight trophy with 84 points, but recent results are concerning. Liverpool transfer news as PSG superstar liked and Real Madrid eyes another Arne Slot ace after its defeat against Nottingham Forest. It would be fair to say there are some more questions for Liverpool to answer in the coming weeks, and rapidly heading towards January, another transfer or two might provide an answer. Liverpool looks in need of a refresh in defense, where it is light of options at centre-back. Some extra pace in forward areas wouldn't go amiss either, with Antoine Semenyo among those linked this week. Here is the YNWA verdict on the transfer gossip to emerge around the Reds today. We start with a different attacker who was linked in the summer and is supposedly back on the agenda. Bradley Barcola PSG. In the summer, Liverpool was linked with a move for the PSG star Bradley Barcola, who can play in a variety of positions in the forward line and has really kicked on in the last 18 months or so. Just like Rodrigo at Real Madrid. With so much competition for places, his spot in Paris is always under threat. There is, therefore, always a lot of speculation linking him with the departure. The question came up, RMC reporter Fabrice Hawkins said via Le 10 Sport. It didn't get much attention in the media because the club handled it very well. In terms of communication, it's a masterclass. They managed to act as a pressure release on something that could have made more noise. Barcola asked himself real questions. He was performing. Then they put Kvarakvicha Kvaratskhelia in front of him, who became a starter. There's the emergence of desire due, small things that frustrate a player. Bayern Munich and Liverpool made very strong approaches. He seriously considered it. The contract extension situation will need to be followed closely. Dominik Szoboszlai impressing. After the start to the season that Liverpool midfielder Dominik Szoboszlai has had, it is so surprised that links with Real Madrid have emerged. They are, it seems, inevitable, as Ibrahima Konate has proven a few times of late. The Spanish outlet Defensa Central has claimed Real Madrid is seriously evaluating the possibility of signing Szoboszlai. He was signed from RB Leipzig for a fee of around $81 million, £61 million in 23. There is a lot to admire about Szoboszlai. This season, he has been Liverpool's most impressive performer to date. However, the Reds would be loath to lose him. Liverpool news. Arne Slot drops major transfer hint as Harvey Elliott update emerges. Liverpool are already looking towards the January transfer window as they bid to get their season back on track. The reigning champions have struggled this term despite making a significant outlay in the summer transfer window. Their form had even led Reds boss Arne Slot to shelve any talk of a title challenge. This summer the Reds spent almost £50 million. The club broke their transfer record twice. First on Florian Wirtz and later on Alexander Isak. Their spending also included £79 million on Hugo Ekitike, 40 meters on Milos Kerkez, £29.5 million on Jeremy Frimpong and £26 million on Giovanni Leoni. However, they could be forced to dip back into the market once again. Slot has now given an update over the club's transfer plans while Harvey Elliott's future on loan at Aston Villa has been clarified. Slot outlines January plans. Slot has played down the need for Liverpool to recruit a new centre-back in January. The Dutchman has instead hinted that the Reds will prioritize other positions of the team. The Reds saw a £35 million move for Guehi collapse on transfer deadline day and are currently down to 3 available senior centre-backs after Giovanni Leoni suffered a season-ending ACL injury on his debut against Southampton in the Carabao Cup earlier in the season. Ibrahima Konate also continues to be the subject of scrutiny, his Anfield future also the subject of speculation. Ahead of his contract expiring next summer. Slot has insisted the Reds' mid-season transfer plans are not his focus. He hinted that Liverpool are instead considering adding to their ranks in other positions amid ongoing speculation linking the reigning champions with the January swoop for Antoine Semenyo. This is one of the questions I didn't expect. Talking about signings and the winter break, Slot said at his pre-match press conference ahead of the Reds' clash with Nottingham Forest, "I think there are so many games to play before that, and the position we are in, it is the last thing that is on my mind. Maybe not on Richard Hughes, but it is the last thing on my mind. It is not a topic for me at the moment. We have at this moment in time 3 centre-backs, with Joe Gomez included of course, and maybe Ryan Gravenberch and Wada Endo who can play in the positions. Maybe you are not aware of it yet, but we have other positions at the moment, which is a bit more of an issue." Elliott's Villa stay addressed. Villa boss Unai Emery has explained there are several factors behind Harvey Elliott's limited game time at Aston Villa. Elliott arrived at Villa Park on an initial loan deal on deadline day, but the attacking midfielder has featured in just 5 matches for the club so far. Under the terms of the deal, Villa will have to pay Liverpool £35 million to make the transfer permanent if the 22-year-old makes another 5 appearances. Emery has previously said he considers Elliott's strongest position to be as a no. 10. However, he highlighted the abundance of options in that area as the primary reason for his restricted playing time. Quizzed on whether Emi Bundia's impressive displays have been an integral reason for Elliot's limited opportunities. Emery said, "It is everything, because the adaptation is something that some players need more than others. But the team is going forward and being very demanding to achieve individual and collective performance, also the consistency we need. Some players, they need more time, or we can speak about how he struggled last year, Bundia, to achieve what he is doing this season. Harvey Elliott, he is working very well. He is working consistently. He is a good guy and his commitment to Aston Villa is fantastic."
Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.